So it's 4:30 right now, and I just got home. It's a little bit early from work, and was super excited to play up some WoW Classic because I heard that they had done some server work just to get into 8,000 person queue. So I decided this would be a great time to talk about, I guess, early game impressions of WoW Classic. As someone who played the game in 2005, the game looks and plays the same. So I really have to give Blizzard a lot of credit for capturing, I think, the classic nostalgic feel all the way down to these, these terrible login times and stuff like that. I wasn't able to play basically on launch night, but I did play, days 2 and 3, and you could really see that they did a real good job of updating, the latest client to make the game look and feel like how it did back in the classic vanilla experience. There's stuff here that, I was a big no changes fan, but there's stuff here that when you take a look at it, it really it feels so much better. A couple different things that I can think off the top of my head are, the way that the mailbox works, being able to send more than one item at the time without using add-ons, being able to just pick up everything from the mailbox at once. It feels really good. It feels like this is the way it should have been. Auto loot feels great. There's a couple different things here that with macros and add-ons, I have to really play around with it because there's a couple things that I'm thinking isn't 100% right at the moment, but maybe it's just a bad add-on, and the macros, they've updated the macros to be the newer client. So I think for the changes department, playing a hunter, I haven't really picked up on any of those bugs yet, but I'm just getting to level 20, and so far the game feels amazing. I had a couple different moments yesterday when I was just jumping on a low level druid and I was fishing in Bloodhoof, and I was like, man, it just, like you get caught in the atmosphere. It started raining. Like it was a very memorable experience there. And I usually don't do a lot of fishing and stuff like that. Right now I'm kind of in the place where I've been leveling a bunch of different classes. I'm not really speed leveling. I've been able to play a lot on the 2 days that I did play, as I was basically, off work. And I kind of decided to take the opportunity to kind of smell the roses, decided to take it slow, read the quests, and so I really took advantage of the fact that everybody's kind of finding their place, and decided to level up to 3 classes and just take everything in and just, fall in love again with different zones. I remember not being a huge fan of the Barrens, and this time around I've really learned to appreciate it. And I guess the quests that are going there, stop, read the quests. You're gonna lose time, but there's, like, it's an experience. Don't focus on guides. Don't focus on trying to get there as quickly as possible. Even though I think Blizzard has put out a tremendous product again, even though it's basically the same game, but it is a special game. There's a reason why this game came out in 2005, and there hasn't been a successor really to it. I've played, KOTOR, or the Old Republic. I've played Final Fantasy 14. There's immersion, and it feels like a real world, like it was designed in a way where it's suboptimal, but it kind of leaves you with these experiences where there's places you love, there's places you hate, like it becomes embedded in your memory. And with the release of Classic WoW, I think that it's going to stick around for a lot longer than I think Blizzard even expects. I think people are going to be playing this game for a long time. Which I'm completely, fine. That's why I'm completely fine leveling three characters and, taking it easy, because it's a game that you're going to build friendships on. Now, I decided to roll on Herod because I was part of a server transfer back with Classic. When BC rolled around, I was playing on Illidan. Illidan was also one of those huge servers that was extremely popular, and I think they offered a free transfer to Balnazar, and I transferred with all my friends, and it sucked, So, almost 15 years later, it doesn't feel like Blizzard has learned how to handle the server community properly. I would say that's the right wording for it. They really messed up by only really. I'm playing in North America, and I think there's only like 8 servers across RP, normal, and PvP that were released at the times where guilds started, building and saying this is where my home is going to be. And for a long-term player in WoW, there's nothing worse than really being on a dead server. So what happened was people started putting their names down. Everything else between the name reservation and launch showed and pointed to the fact that we were going to need more servers. And at that point, Blizzard should have started, firing the engines and getting those up. And by the time the game released, every server was full, and we basically had to double the amount of servers that existed. And what you ended up getting was, I don't want to predict the demise of any of those new servers that were basically launched. But from my experience, what Blizzard's doing is they're setting up both the populated server for even more people jumping on it, and they're setting up these new servers for basically failure. By creating these servers in the beginning and being able to basically split that wealth and maybe have to deal with server transfers later on, what you've now done is set up these new servers to say they're going to be less populated, and worst case scenario, down the line, it's going to be a ghost town. So you're setting up these, bigger servers like Whitemane and Herod to have more people want to log on to these servers because they don't want to be in a dead server, So I think it's really unfortunate that we still haven't figured out how to handle server community. You're getting right now, and one of the things that we see is that evolution will find a way. I was in the Crossroads, and you see in this full of people, and what they're basically doing is AFK farming. So they'll log in the morning, they'll ensure that they'll have a place when they get home, and it's actually quite terrible for the experience because the in-game is much more empty than what it should be, because you have all these people making sure that they're not getting stuck in queue. And, they're using TeamViewer, Go to My PC, and, making sure that they jump every 2 minutes or something like that from work. And, they're getting home to be able to play. So I don't know what Blizzard's going to do to figure those sort of scenarios out. They have done a really good job. I love their ticketing system. Even when it's in queue, if you get disconnected, it'll hold your place in line. They've done a great job with all these stuff, but they do need to get back to listening to the community, and it's really going to determine the health of these servers going forward. So with that, this is just a ramble that I have here while I'm waiting in this dreaded queue. Outside of that, the game's been great. Been able to do some Whale and Caverns run last night. I did 2 of those. And I had, I don't think I've ever been so lucky in this game. Never in a private server, never in vanilla. I had 2 runs, and I got 4 out of 5 of the Fang set on my Hunter. I got Venom Strike. I got the back that falls off the huge Kodo. And then I was also able to complete all the quests. So I got, the Deviate bag. I got the recipe for leatherworking. I got, I think it's called Wing Blade. It's this. I went with the sword instead of crescent staff for my Hunter. So right now I almost want to just freeze this account. And I probably would if we had PvP, and then man, forget this. This is never going to happen again. It's a perfect twink character, and leave him as is. But, the Whaling Caverns is, I played RFC, but the Whaling Caverns is when it just gets good. It's such a beautiful instance. It's probably my favorite instance in the low levels all the way until, maybe even Maridon. I think the I mean, SM's cool. You know, SM's pretty cool. But I think Wailing Caverns takes the cake. So just a video out here rambling a little bit while I wait in queue. How about you guys? Have you guys been able to get in? Have you guys, stuck on one of the populated servers where the queue line's disgusting? Let me know your thoughts below. And, also want to know where you guys are playing. If anyone's playing on Herod, reach out to me. My name's ChillCraft. Take care.